You know, there's a saying, life isn't just about adding years to your life, but adding life to your years. And if you're over 60, you've probably already figured out that the little things, the daily habits we barely think about, can make a big difference in how we feel, how much energy we have, and yes, even how long we live. But here's the problem. Some of these habits, they're silent saboteurs. They creep in without us noticing, slowly chipping away at our health, our vitality, even our time. The good news? Once you see them, you can fix them. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're talking about 4 toxic habits that could be shortening your life after 60. And, more importantly, how to reverse them. Now, this isn't about fear or guilt. It's about awareness and action, because you deserve to feel your best for as long as possible. So, let's start with the first habit, one you might not even realize is hurting you. Habit number 1. Sitting too much, the invisible health thief. Think about your average day. How many hours do you spend sitting? Watching TV, reading, scrolling through your phone? It feels harmless, right? But here's the truth. Sitting is the new smoking. Studies show that prolonged sitting increases your risk of heart disease, diabetes, even certain cancers. And after 60, when muscle loss accelerates, sitting too much speeds up frailty. But here's the fix, and it's simpler than you think. Move every 30 minutes. Set a timer if you have to. Stand up, stretch, take a lap around the house. Even better, swap some sitting time for short walks. A 10-minute walk after meals does wonders for your blood sugar, circulation, and mood. You don't need to run a marathon. Just interrupt the sitting. Your body will thank you. Habit number 2. Skipping protein, the muscle mistake. Now, let's talk about your plate. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at using protein to maintain muscle. And muscle loss isn't just about strength, it's about independence. Weak muscles mean more falls, slower recovery, and a higher risk of frailty. But here's where many folks go wrong. They eat less protein as they get older, often without realizing it. A toast and coffee breakfast, a light salad for lunch. Sound familiar? The fix: prioritize protein at every meal. Aim for at least 20 to 30 grams per meal. Eggs, Greek yogurt, chicken, fish, beans, even a protein shake if you're not hungry. And here's a pro tip. Eat your protein first at meals. It helps your body use it better and keeps you full longer. Now, these first 2 habits, sitting too much and skimping on protein, are huge, but they're just the beginning. Because the next toxic habit? It's one that feels comforting but could be quietly harming your health in ways you'd never expect. Middle toxic habits and how to fix them. You know, some habits feel like they're helping us, like they're little comforts we've earned after all these years. But what if I told you that one of those comforts might actually be stealing your energy, clouding your mind, and even cutting your time short? That brings us to the next toxic habit, one that's so common, most people don't even question it. Habit number 3. Overdoing processed foods, the convenience trap. Let's be honest, cooking a full meal every day isn't always easy. Maybe you reach for frozen dinners, canned soups, or packaged snacks because they're quick and familiar. But here's the hard truth. Processed foods are aging you faster. They're loaded with hidden sugars, unhealthy fats, and way too much salt, all of which fuel inflammation, high blood pressure, and sluggishness. And after 60, your body doesn't bounce back like it used to. That afternoon slump, those stiff joints, a lot of it traces back to what's on your plate. But fixing this doesn't mean you have to spend hours in the kitchen. Try this instead. Upgrade 1 processed meal a day. Swap that frozen dinner for a simple stir-fry with pre-cut veggies and grilled chicken. Trade sugary cereal for oatmeal with nuts and berries. Small changes add up. And the best part? Within weeks, you'll feel the difference. more energy, clearer thinking, even better sleep. Habit number 4. Neglecting your social circle, the loneliness effect. Now, this one might surprise you. You've probably heard that staying active and eating right are key to a long life. But here's what often gets overlooked. Your relationships are just as vital as your diet. Research shows that chronic loneliness is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It weakens your immune system, hikes your risk of dementia, and even speeds up cellular aging. And as we get older, it's easy to drift into isolation. Maybe friends have moved, family's busy, or it just feels harder to get out. But the fix isn't about becoming the life of the party. It's about small, meaningful connections. Call an old friend while you sip your morning coffee. Join a weekly book club or gardening group. Even chatting with your neighbor or smiling at the cashier counts. Your brain thrives on connection, so don't underestimate the power of a 5-minute conversation. Now, these 4 habits, sitting too much, skimping on protein, overdoing processed foods, and neglecting social ties, might seem small on their own, but together, they shape how well and how long you live. And the best part? You don't need a complete overhaul to turn things around. Tiny tweaks work, but before we wrap up, there's one more thing you need to know. A simple mindset shift that makes all these changes stick. Because without it, even the best advice falls flat. The mindset shift and living your best life after 60. You know, I once heard a 94-year-old woman say something that stuck with me. Growing old is inevitable, but growing weak is optional. And that right there, that's the secret. Because all the tips in the world won't help if we're stuck thinking, I'm too old for this. Or, what's the point now? So, before we wrap up, let's talk about the real game changer. The one habit that makes all the others possible. The 5th habit, the hidden one. Telling yourself it's too late. Here's the hard truth. Your brain believes what you tell it. Say, I'm past my prime enough times, and your body will agree. But flip that script, magic happens. A Harvard study found that people who viewed aging positively lived 7.5 years longer than those who dreaded it. 7.5 years. Just from their mindset. So try this today. Swap I can't for I get to. I get to move my body in ways that feel good. I get to nourish myself with tasty, wholesome foods. I get to connect with people who light me up. This isn't wishful thinking. It's rewiring. Your golden years aren't about decline. They're about discovering what's still possible. Now, if you're thinking, that's a lot to change at once, breathe. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Try the one thing rule. Each week, pick just one habit to tweak. Maybe this week you'll add protein to breakfast. Next week, you'll call a friend every morning. Small steps create big waves over time. And celebrate every win. Danced while making coffee? That counts. Chose a homemade soup over canned? Victory. These aren't just good choices. They're love letters to your future self. Look, I won't sugarcoat it. Aging isn't always easy. But here's what's beautiful. You get to define what these years look like. Every time you choose movement over stagnation, real food over processed, fake fuel, connection over isolation, you're not just adding days to your life, you're adding life to your days. So tell me in the comments, which habit will you tackle first? Your journey inspires others more than you know. And if this resonated with you, pass it along to a friend who needs to hear it too. Because the world needs your wisdom, your laughter, your fully lived years. Here's to making every one of them count. Stay vibrant, my friend. I'll see you in the next one.